You got a raise, a real one, and for about 3 weeks life felt different. Then it didn't. That's not bad luck, that's your brain running a very old, very expensive program. Let's talk about it. Picture this. Maya has been grinding at her job for 2 years. She's good at it, her manager knows it, and finally the email arrives. A 12% raise. She screenshots it. She sends it to her sister. That night she sleeps better than she has in months. Fast forward 90 days. Meyer is stressed about money again, not in a dramatic way. Her checking account looks almost identical to what it looked like before the raise. And here's the part that really stings. She genuinely cannot tell you where the extra money went. This isn't a Maya problem. This is one of the most well-documented patterns in all of behavioral economics, and it hits hardest precisely when things are going well for you. The better your income gets, the more invisible this mechanism becomes, because it disguises itself as normal life. Researchers who study human happiness have found something deeply counterintuitive. After a relatively short adjustment window, people who experience significant positive changes in their circumstances, more money, a nicer home, a newer car, tend to return to roughly the same baseline level of satisfaction they had before. The upgrade stops feeling like an upgrade. It just becomes the floor. That process has a name. It's called hedonic adaptation. And before you decide that sounds abstract or academic, I want you to stay with me, because understanding exactly how this mechanism works in your specific financial life is worth more than almost any budgeting tip you've ever been given. The numbers in your bank account are not just numbers. They are outputs of a psychological system that is quietly, constantly resetting your expectations upward. Let's open that system up. Your brain is not wired to feel things permanently. That would be exhausting, and from a survival standpoint, pretty useless. If you stayed maximally delighted by every good thing indefinitely, you'd stop working for more. If you stayed devastated by every bad thing indefinitely, you'd stop functioning altogether. So your nervous system does something elegant and ruthless at the same time. It normalizes. Hedonic adaptation is the process by which your emotional response to any stimulus, good or bad, fades as that stimulus becomes familiar. It's the reason the new car smell stops being exciting. It's the reason the apartment you were thrilled to move into starts feeling cramped 18 months later. It's the reason the salary that once felt like a dream starts feeling like just enough to get by. Think of it like a thermostat. Your brain has a happiness set point, a default temperature it returns to. You can crank the heat with a raise, a promotion, a big purchase, and for a while the room feels warmer. But the thermostat is always working to pull you back to baseline. The heat doesn't last, and so you reach for the dial again. Now here's where this gets specifically dangerous with money, as opposed to other areas of life. Because money is fungible, meaning it can be converted into almost anything, it is uniquely good at feeding this cycle. Every time your income rises, there are 1,000 easy, socially acceptable, even encouraged ways to spend that increase before you ever consciously decide to. The subscription renews at a higher tier, the restaurant gets a little nicer, the vacation gets a little longer. None of these feel like decisions. They feel like living your life. That's the trap. Lifestyle creep isn't a character flaw. It's hedonic adaptation wearing a credit card. Let me give you two people. Same city, same cost of living, same starting salary of $50,000 a year at age 25. First person is Darius. Every 2 or 3 years, Darius gets a meaningful raise. By 35, he's earning $90,000, and every single time his income went up, his life expanded to meet it. Better apartment, reasonable, the old one was cramped. Newer car, fair, the old one was unreliable. Nicer gym, better phone, Weekend trips that used to feel like splurges and now just feel like what people do. Darius is not reckless. He's not buying yachts. He's making the kind of incremental upgrades that feel completely justified at each step. At 35, Darius has about $4,000 in savings, not because he earns too little, because his baseline reset every single time his income rose, and his spending rose right alongside it, automatically, almost invisibly. Second person is Priya. Same raise trajectory. Same 90,000 at 35. But Priya had one conversation with herself early on, not a strict budget, not a spreadsheet obsession, just one rule. Every raise, she let herself spend half the increase and save the other half before it ever touched her lifestyle. She didn't feel deprived. She felt the smaller upgrade. She adapted to a slightly better life, not the maximum possible better life. At 35, Priya has close to $40,000 saved and invested. Same income, same raises. $40,000 difference. That gap isn't discipline. It's the gap between someone who understood the thermostat and someone who didn't know it existed. And I want you to notice, Darius isn't a cautionary tale of greed. He's a cautionary tale of default settings. Here's the part most people don't see coming. You might be thinking, okay, I get it. Lifestyle creep is a thing. I'll be more careful when my next raise comes. And that's good. But I need to tell you something uncomfortable first. The mechanism gets stronger as your income grows, not weaker. When you're earning $40,000 a year, the upgrades available to your lifestyle are limited by reality. There are only so many tiers above your current situation that are accessible. But when you're earning $150,000, $200,000, the upgrade ladder extends almost infinitely. There is always a bigger apartment, a better neighborhood, a private school instead of a public one, a business class seat instead of economy. The options for resetting your baseline upward become almost unlimited. And here's the social layer that makes it even stickier. Hedonic adaptation doesn't just run on your own internal thermostat. It runs on social comparison, a related mechanism sometimes called keeping up with the Joneses, but more precisely described in the research as relative deprivation. As your income rises, your reference group changes. You're no longer comparing your life to where you were. You're comparing it to your new colleagues, your new neighborhood, your new social circle. And they are all, by definition, living at roughly your new income level. So your upgraded life still doesn't feel like an upgrade. It just feels like keeping pace. This is why studies consistently find that the relationship between income and day-to-day emotional well-being flattens significantly after a certain point. It's not that money stops mattering. It's that the adaptation accelerates. You are running faster and faster just to stay at the same emotional starting line. Let's get concrete about the real price tag here, because this is where I want you to feel it in your chest, not just understand it in your head. If hedonic adaptation costs you, conservatively, $300 a month in lifestyle inflation every time your income rises meaningfully, and that happens 4 or 5 times across your working life, you're not just losing $300 a month. You are losing the compounded investment return on that $300 every month across decades. Run that math, and you are looking at the difference between a retirement that gives you genuine freedom and one that asks you to keep working longer than you planned. But the cost isn't only financial. There's a subtler damage happening. Every time your baseline resets upward, you become slightly less able to enjoy the things that used to bring you real satisfaction. The simple dinner out, the budget road trip, the apartment that was genuinely fine. Hedonic adaptation trains your brain to need more stimulation to feel the same level of contentment. Over time, this can quietly hollow out your relationship with ordinary life, which, let's be honest, is where most of your life actually happens. And there's an anxiety cost too. Higher lifestyle baselines mean higher fear of falling. When your monthly expenses require your current income just to stay afloat, any wobble in your career, a layoff, an industry shift, a health issue, feels catastrophic rather than manageable. The people who suffer most in economic downturns are often not the lowest earners. They are the people whose spending expanded perfectly to fill every dollar they ever earned and left no cushion below them. You're not protected by earning more. You're protected by keeping your baseline lower than your income. That gap, that intentional gap, is your actual financial safety net. So what do you actually do with all of this? Because I'm not here to tell you to live like a monk and never enjoy a raise. That's not realistic, and honestly, it misses the point of earning more in the first place. The goal is to work with your hedonic adaptation rather than be blindly driven by it. The single most effective move is what behavioral economists call pre-commitment, deciding what happens to new money before it arrives, before your brain has a chance to build expectations around it. If you know a raise is coming, automate an increased transfer to savings or investments the same week the new paycheck hits. Not later. Not after you see how things shake out. Before. Because once you've lived at the new number for a month, your thermostat has already reset, and saving that money will feel like a sacrifice. Before it arrives, it doesn't feel like anything yet. Second, give yourself a conscious, deliberate lifestyle upgrade with a portion of every raise. This sounds counterintuitive after everything I've just told you, but here's why it matters. Suppressing all reward creates its own backlash. Behavioral research consistently shows that people who allow themselves structured, intentional enjoyment of new income are less likely to blow it unconsciously. Enjoy the upgrade. Just do it on purpose, not by default. Third, periodically practice what researchers call savoring, deliberately re-engaging with things your current baseline has made invisible. Cook the simple meal. Take the local trip. This isn't self-deprivation, it's maintenance of your happiness thermostat. You're recalibrating downward so that ordinary things can feel good again. And finally, track the gap. Not your spending. The gap between what you earn and what your lifestyle requires. That gap is your freedom number. Growing it, even slowly, changes your relationship with risk, with work, with the future. You don't need to earn more. You need your baseline to stay meaningfully below whatever you earn. That's hedonic adaptation, the reason every raise eventually feels like treading water. The fix isn't earning more. It's keeping your baseline honest. Your money brain doesn't switch off when it comes to retirement. That's exactly where these biases cost the most. I built a free tool that shows you the real math, no spreadsheet required. It's called Granary, links in the description.